Delia, as his mother died at her husband's hand, and as watch, and now he has gotten over this whole ordeal of being abused by his father, and right now, this series is continuing toward the original roots somehow. Don't really know how this happened, but this happening. So they are right now currently going toward Viridian City Pokemon Center because of Sparrow attack, and after getting saved by from Sparrow, Pikachu and Snivy are badly hurt and they got to be to the Pokemon Center. So let's begin today's episode.
Last time. Thank Arceus for that, he states, remaining lying on the ground to regain some of his energy. He did run almost 10 miles and dodged who knows how many attempts made by the Spearows that were trying to attack him. All of his Pokemon gathered around him, flopping down at either side of him, exhausted as well from all the running and rapid fire attacks they each had to launch to keep their friend safe. They all lay there, watching as the dark clouds above soon dissipated away, leaving a bright rainbow behind, and to the shock of them all, the mythical Pokemon Ho-Oh flew across the sky above them, dropping a few of their feathers, each one landing on them and healing them somewhat of their injuries, as well as leaving behind one feather for them to keep, before flying away into the sun. Ash tried scanning the mythical Pokemon but was only able to get a halfway blurry picture of the Pokemon before they flew away. Now, after about 30 minutes, Ash and his Pokemon team started making their way to Viridian City. He had put both Jin and Kaiserin back into their Pokeballs, as he noticed that the both of them could take more than 2 steps before collapsing in exhaustion. He promised them both that he will take them both out once he has them at the Pokemon Center so that they can get healed up. Raisin and Loki forbade Ash from putting them into what they call a miniature torture room. Again, the Pokeballs were made with Pokemon comfort in mind, especially these Pokeballs. These two hated the idea of being stuck inside of them, so he reluctantly left them out and allowed them both to ride on his shoulders head to appease them. They all made small talk while they made their way towards the gate of the city. Ash had returned Snivy to her Pokeball as well, as it would help keep her from reopening her wounds, and she was on the verge of collapsing once again, and he thought it would be better for her if he had her back in her Pokeball to let her catch up on some rest, as well as letting the Pokeball's stasis mode keep Snivy's wounds from getting any more serious than they already were. Ash and his team soon arrived at the gate, and just as Ash was about to dash off toward the nearest Pokemon Center, he was grabbed by the back of his shirt. "Hold it right there," a stern voice stated, causing Ash to pause mid-dash and turn around to see who was talking to him, and noticed that it was the local officer Jenny. In a rather annoyed huff, Ash quickly asked her what was the problem, to which she replied with a huff. "There's been a red alert for some Pokemon thieves attempting to hit the city, so I have to screen everyone coming and leaving to make sure that they aren't the criminals, and so far you are the only other person to." Ash lifted his hand to pause her explanation. "I'm sorry to silence you, but I need to get to the Pokemon Center ASAP. I and my Pokemon just got attacked by the Spearow flock. Some of them are currently very badly injured from them and require immediate medical attention, so can you please let us go to the Pokemon Center so I can have them checked out? I'll answer all the questions you need to ask me there, but only once I have my Pokemon checked too." Ash states, rather harshly. He didn't mean to come off as harsh as he had, but his friends were in a lot of pain, and he didn't have time to wait around for the officer to check if he was a thief or not. Said officer quickly raised her arms in a surrender position due to the young trainer's voice. "I understand, but please do understand that I am trying to do my job as well. Do you have any ID on you so to underscore?" Ash quickly shoved his Pokédex in the officer's face, which showed off the details she needed to see. "Now can I please go, officer? I need to get to that Pokemon Center now. Ash all but growls out. Again, he doesn't mean to come off as harsh or push his anger at the officer, but his Pokemon, his family are his top priority before anything else. Luckily enough, the officer stepped back a bit and gave him a nod before quickly running and grabbing her motorcycle. I'm sorry for the hold up, young man. Let me give you a lift to the center. This will get us there a lot faster than you running there. And from the way you look, you appear ready to pass out once you are in the door. The officer stated. Ash quickly replied with a quick thanks and hopped into the sidecar of the motorcycle, and held onto both Loki and Raisin as Jenny revved the motorcycle into full speed, causing it to speed down the road, just as the orange-haired teen came up to the gate, and growled.
"Damn you!" shouts, but it was unheard due to the loud revving of the motorcycle.
Time skip 2.5 minutes. Everything was quiet in the Pokemon Center. A few trainers were wandering around the lobby, chatting with other trainers about random subjects. Nurse Joy was enjoying the peace as it was somewhat rare for her. She usually worked in Pokemon centers in bigger cities or towns. She was currently working in her sister's stead as she was recovering from the flu.
She didn't mind doing the work, in fact, like the other Joys.
She loved helping injured Pokemon become healthy again, but she also came to help out cause she needed a small break from the hustle and bustle of the big city Pokemon centers, as she gets run ragged there from the amounts of trainers who either push their Pokemon too far in training, fight against a trainer or gym leader who was more powerful than they could handle, accidentally letting their Pokemon get too close to something they shouldn't. The list goes on. But now she can have a somewhat peaceful evening at the center, or so she thought. Cause once she let out a sigh, a motorcycle came zooming in through the front of the Poke Center's door, stopping right in front of her desk. Officer, how many tea? Nurse Joy started to talk but was suddenly caught off guard when Ash came up to the front desk.
I'm very sorry about the mess, but we needed to get here fast.
Me and my team got attacked by the Spearow flock on our way here, and we have no idea as to why they attacked us. A lot of my Pokemon got injured trying to fight back and escape the onslaught, Ash quickly explained, placing his Pokeballs onto the desk and placing both Loki and Raisin onto the desk, both of them having quite a lot of scratches and a few bruises forming. Nurse Joy's instincts quickly activated, and called for a trolley for Ash's Pokemon. Soon after that, Ash's Pokemon were carted away from the desk into the back of the center along with Chansey and Nurse Joy so that they could start healing the injured Pokemon. Ash gave a sigh of relief, before turning to thank the officer and apologizing for the way he talked to her earlier, which she immediately waved off. No need to apologize, a lot of new trainers would do the same thing as you did, heck I even did the same thing as you while I was in the academy, she stated, before wishing him and his Pokemon a good journey, and swift recovery before she started up her motorcycle again, and zoomed out off the Poke Center. Looking around, Ash quickly saw a computer and decided to give Professor Oak a quick update on what had happened. Quickly seated himself in front of the computer and turned it on before dialing the professor's number. After about 5 rings the screen changed and he saw the top of someone's head. Professor Oak. Ash questioned. Ah, hello there Ash, yes it's me, don't you remember me? Don't tell me your memory is going bad, isn't it supposed to be the other way around? Professor Oak stated in his usual jovial tone, which caused Ash to chuckle a bit. Well, I think I would recognize you more if I saw more than just a forehead on the screen, he replied teasingly, hearing the professor's face plant and sputter a bit before he fixed his camera. I guess so, my boy, Oak replies sheepishly, rubbing the back of his head. Shaking his head at the professor's usual antics, Ash asked how the professor was doing in the now silent lab, to which he got a small laugh. Not much has changed. Though the Pokemon seemed to miss their little assistant greatly, Oak stated before getting a bit serious. Since you're calling me, I'm assuming that you have made it to a Viridian city. He asks, receiving a short nod from Ash. Ash then explained what had happened on his short travel outside of Pallet Town, leaving out the severity of the Spearow attack. Professor. Oak frowned once Ash brought up the sparrow flock. Thank you for bringing that flock's attention to me, Ash. There have been quite a few attacks along Route 1 from that flock, and I have been reaching out to the League for them to send a team down and have them deal with the flock and possibly move them elsewhere, Oak states, quickly writing down a note to himself to send a message to the League once more about the aggressive flock. Did anything else happen while you were on your way to Viridian City? How did the interaction between the two Pokemon go? Oak asked, wanting some information on the two starters Ash received that day. Ash shrugged before talking. Nothing much to talk about. Those two are opposites in terms of their reaction to me. One of them was rather quick to warm up to me, but I know still has some major trust issues, ones that will take a while for me to break through and help heal, Ash explained, thinking back to his first interaction with Jin. He then thought about Snivy's interaction. The other interaction could have gone a lot better, but I somewhat expected the reaction the other starter would give. She will need about twice the amount of time to work as she seems to have been the brunt of multiple abusive trainers, more than what your professor friend stated, but I think I can break through, but again it's going to be a long while before I see any sort of results. He states to the professor. He didn't give too much detail about both of the Pokemon, as he felt that that information would be best discussed once he interacted with them a bit more. Oak just nodded his head. That's good, my boy. I'm glad to see that you were able to make some progress with the two of them. Abused Pokemon are never an easy task, especially for new trainers, but luckily you seem to be perfectly capable of helping them recover. Just to be careful, as sometimes they may relapse now and again to this mentality they currently have. Abuse leaves a huge scar behind. Oak once again states, which Ash nods, understanding that completely. He still has flashbacks to the abuse he faced against Dick. Shaking his head, wanting to forget that person, he then asked Oak if there was anything else he wanted to know, which caused said professor to sheepishly rub the back of his head again. There's one small thing I need to talk with you about. You see, me and Gary have a little bet going on. He stated that you wouldn't be able to catch a single Pokemon once you started on your journey, excluding your starter Pokemon. I bet him that you could. The prize is around 500,000 Pokédollars, he explained, causing Ash to groan. He sometimes wondered if the professor was a little kid inside of an old man's body. He has some proof of that being the case, but he won't get into that right now. You are very lucky it's me we're talking about, Professor. I did catch a Pokemon after leaving the ranch. Actually caught 4 Pokemon. Please do transfer half the winnings to me, as I did catch them. He replied, causing the professor to hoot in joy as he heard this. That is amazing, my boy, and don't worry, I will of course be splitting the winnings with you. Consider it your first prize after defeating Gary. I'll send it to you once I have received it. Do you mind if I have a look at your Pokédex and see which Pokemon you have captured? I am going to need some proof for Gary anyway, the professor stated rather excitedly, causing Ash to smile at the childlike nature of the professor. Ash then inserted the Pokédex into the computer and let the professor get the information on his Pokemon. There we go, it's all sent to you now, Ash states before a doorbell sounded from the Oak's side. Ah, that's my dinner, I have to go and get that. Have a great evening, Ash. Call me once you reach Pewter City. I'd love to hear what else happens during your journey there. Both of them wished each other a good evening before they both hung up the call. Just in time for someone to slam their hands on Ash's shoulders and grip them harshly. There you are, you no good brat. The voice stated, Ash was then forcefully turned around and was now face to face with the orange-haired girl from the river, this time though her entire face was bright red in anger. You are in so much trouble. She screeches.
Hey guys, welcome back. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell icon, and meet you in the next episode of this series. Until then, thanks for watching.